Hello, it's Latrice, and I'm here to share another May Arts video with you. Today I want to share how I created a monogram wreath using the twisted burlap string from May Arts, and also I'm doing a little bit of a trendy thing by color blocking it with two different colors of the string. And then I will finish it off and show you how I'm embellishing it with a little bit more ribbon and some greenery. So what I did first is I purchased these large letters. They're probably about 12 inches high, maybe a little bit more, from my local craft store. They're just a hollow craft material. They're perfect for decoupaging, they're perfect for covering with feathers or fabric or paper. I've covered them in paper before, I've also wrapped them in yarn before. But today, when I came across this twisted burlap string from May Arts, this is the SP series. I loved the forest green, the red, and the natural color. So I was thinking, how could I create a fun wreath of some sort out of this material? Now, some letters are harder to wrap than others. If they have curves like this, you will have to actually wrap the yarn around the edges first, and then you will want to go this way to cover up the rest. So it's it takes a little bit of thinking prior to getting started. So we're going to set our G aside, and actually what I'm doing is a letter M. So you can see that I'm about done. I didn't want to bore you guys with wrapping it completely, but you can see on the end here is how I wrapped it going vertically first, and then once I was ready I started to go around here horizontally. So the M is a little bit easier letter just because everything is straight lines. There's not too many curves. But here's the issue with the M. When you get to the top and when you get to this pointed part, you actually have to trim these pieces just this length here. Okay, and then you go back and you cover up your seams. So I've done that on both sides for this angled kind of V shape here. Okay, and then I took one more piece around the center and I kind of squished it in to cover up where all those ends are cut. So under here all of these ends are cut, and then along here those ends are cut, but I went ahead and I wrapped that around using my hot glue gun. Alright, so you'll need about a spool and a half of either two colors. You can either use two colors like I'm doing here, or if you're doing all one color, you'll need about a spool and a half. So you can see I'm about done here, and because this is another angle, I'm having to trim these pieces here. So this part has not been trimmed yet. So I want to show you how I'm doing that. So on this part you do have to glue every line as you go. Down here all of these lines are not glued because it was such an easy section to just wrap. I glued about every 8th line or so just to keep it nice and tight. So I'll show you guys how I'm doing this. Let me zoom you in a little bit so you can see this. And what I'm doing is I'm just going to take a line of glue along this top part here and just keep attaching my my string all the way around. A little bit too close here, sorry. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and add a line of glue. And I'm going to add on both sides of this M, because I know that this string is just going to come all the way across. And then you want to press it down until it grabs, just so you make sure it grabs. And let me unwind a little bit here. Okay, and then we're going to flip it and we're going to do the same thing. So you can see how I'm just adding that line of glue right there. And then I'm going to go ahead and press that down. And then I'm just going to keep going until I get to the top of my M here. Now I'm using a high temp hot glue gun that actually it has a high and low setting, so it is completely up to you. I do burn my fingers, but I move fast enough, or I wipe it off fast enough. I think my fingertips have kind of gotten used to it. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and we can fit one more line on both sides. And then once I get to the top, I do want to add a little bit of glue to this side part to keep it in its place. And then I will add my last line here. Oops. I got some glue there where I didn't want it. Alright, and then I'm going to add my last little line here on the side. I'm going to trim that off. Alright, so there I've finished the edge. This is the last edge here. And now I need to go back and trim this V shape out. So I've got some super strong scissors that I'm using for that. And I'm just going to hold them right at that edge and trim through all of them at once. I'm going to do the same thing on this side and on the back. So you can see how nice that V looks, even though those are cut ends, because we hot glued it all the way. So now I'm going to do my last one. Alright, so now we have our M shape. Okay, so but I don't want these kind of unfinished edges around here. So what I'm going to do is similar to what I did here. I'm going to cover up that seam with a little bit more glue. So I'm going to go from this edge down in the V and then back. Okay, and then I'll wrap it around the top one more time and then I'll come back around. So I'll have one continuous piece. So I'm going to start in my back. So I know this is my back because I overlapped a few pieces here and there. My back side is where I ended all of my threads. So you can see there's an end there, there's an end there. Okay, so I'm going to start at my back side at the top. I'm going to add some glue there. Grab my string and put that right in the corner. Let that cool off just a little bit. And then I'm going to wrap this around at the top. Okay, and now I'm onto the front here. So this does take a little bit of time. So now we're on to this V portion. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my glue And I want to make sure it grabs those little ends that have been cut. So I'm going to kind of dab it on instead of putting a long string of it. Okay, so then we have that part. So then I'm going to wrap this, and I want to kind of cover the front of this. So I'm making sure it grabs the top part of that cut edge, if that makes sense. And then I'm going to give it a push to the side so that I know it's grabbing. And then I'm going to flip it. So you can already see how this finished edge looks. It's so much better than just the cut edge. Sorry, I'm dropping things over here. Alright, so now we'll go on to our next side. Okay. So then I'm going to hold this down at the V because I don't want it to slip up. And I'm going to hold it at the top. And I'm going to press that down. And I've got some extra glue squeezing out, but I'm just going to rub that off. And then give this a push. Any extra glue you can just rub off your fingers. Alright, so now the front of the M is done. So I'm going to keep wrapping this around and do the back. Alright, so here I am at my last edge. I'm putting on my the back of the V portion that will be trimmed. And then I am just going to trim this right off. And then I'm going to take a little dot of hot glue on the end there, and just to seal the end so that it doesn't come frayed. And there is our color blocked monogram wreath. So I love how this looks, but I know I want to add a little bit of something else to it. So what I've pulled out is I've got this fun little berry sprig, and then I've got some glittery tulle, and then also some of the Mayart's white. This is like the 3-inch, 2.5-inch KK series. So I'm going to pull off a little bit of this. I think I might want to do a bow, so I'm going to pull off quite a bit of it actually. Okay, and then just real quick, how we're going to hang this is I'm going to put some of this string on the back. And then I will cover this with felt. So I'm going to do 2 lines for the string. Okay, right down the middle so that it hangs evenly. Okay, so we've got that. And then I've got some felt that I will cut off. I'm kind of jumping all over the place here. Sorry about that. I just want to make sure I hit every step in case you guys want to try this at home. I mean, it seems like a lot of steps, but once you get going, I mean, actually it only took me about 2 hours to do this. Alright, so I've got these 2 pieces of felt now. And this is just to make the back look nice and finished. You don't have to do that. But I like to make it look finished. So I've got my little felt piece that is just going to cover up this piece here. And it gives it a little bit more secure feel. So then your strings won't come off once you get it hanging on your door hanger or. Alright. So we've got both pieces of that covered up, and I will probably cut the top of that to hang it, and then I'll tie that in the bow as well. Alright, so let's get some of this glittery tulle. And I am just going to fold this in a knot. I cut it in half, so I've got 2 big pieces. Folding this in a knot just to make a simple bow. Okay, and then I can go back and trim that later. So that's part of it. Then I've got my bow that I'm going to make or my ribbon that I'm going to make a big bow out of. Okay, so we just have to kind of even this up. So now we've got this giant bow with the red behind it. Okay, we've got this here. So I want to kind of layer these 2 here, and then I will take my sprig and place it between there. Okay, and then I will probably even finish that off with a little bit more of this. So let's go ahead and add these pieces. So now I'm just going to hold my little sprig down in the glue. These are metal underneath, so I can kind of bend that and let it hang there for just a sec. I'll blow on it to cool it off faster. Okay, and then I'm going to add my white bow underneath and kind of on top of that red one. So we'll go like that. And I'm just going to hold it there until it dries. Alright, and then last, to finish it off, I will just take a little bit of this and make another small bow out of this twine. Just a little one. And I'll add that right on top of this red here. Alright. And then I'll hold that there as well. And then all you have to do is go back and trim everything up, let everything cool off, and your wreath will be done. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give my ribbon, the ends here, a cut. And I like to do that banner cut on the end. So I'm going to go ahead, I fold it in half, and then I'm going to leave them pretty long. And then I'm just going to give it a cut there. So then that one will hang like that. Now we'll do the same on the other side. So then I've got that and that. Give this a little bit of a trim. Spread it out more. Spread this out more. Give it a little bit of trim so that it's a little bit more even. Spread that out more. I just want to make sure these are staying. Alright, so then there you have some fun inspiration for a different kind of wreath that you can hang on your door, and then you can make these as great gifts as well. And it doesn't take you very long. I think the M was maybe about $4, and then you add in some ribbon. This sprig came from a larger sprig where I actually got about 12 of them from. So give this a try. I mean, it took us a little while because we're waiting for the hot glue to kind of cool off here and there, but really not a time-consuming project. Thanks so much for visiting, and I hope you give this project a try. Don't forget to visit the blog for more ideas throughout December for great gift-giving ideas and more. Thanks. Bye.